when politicians or black people are accused of corruption. News24 was stealing, corruption, this and that. But when it's a white guy, it's called financial irregulation.
No, it's not fair. My father bought 2 newspapers every day and 3 on a Sunday.
So 3 paper Sundays was a standard in across race.
We are the ones who pay journalists' salaries, who send them out to the courtroom, onto crime scenes, etc. But then expected to put our content on those platforms for free. They don't pay us and they take our advertising. I mean, that's not fair.
Do you also have aunties who send you like fake news on a WhatsApp, on a family WhatsApp?
Oh, hell yeah.
Comrades, today is one of those ones. We're hanging out with the big boss of white monopoly capital media. Stratcom, throw all of us. Stratcom, what. All of those. We're hanging out with Adriaan Basson. Adriaan, welcome.
Okay, thanks for that intro.
Welcome, my man. When you watch politicians like refer to you or what you do as like the mouthpiece of white monopoly capital, blah, 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 blah. How does it feel?
Listen, a day in my life is not normal if I wasn't attacked by the EFF and Afri Forum on the same day. As head of white monopoly capital and as the hater of white people.
Oh, snap.
So, this thing comes with the territory. I've accepted it. I'm not getting upset about it anymore. My mother still does, but I've told her to keep off the lines.
Oh, is journalism something that you want to do? Is it a thankless job? The politicians don't like you. The public criticizes you. Is it something that you wake up and you go, this is the thing that I want to do?
Yeah, it's the only thing that I know how to do. I will have to find a way to do it until my last day. I still get enormous satisfaction from those big stories, those big exposés, those stories that change the lives of South Africans. We still do those stories. And I firmly and thoroughly believe the majority of South Africans are in the middle or in the center. Yeah. They're not on the extremes. The loud ones are there and we need to learn and to deal with them. But the majority of South Africans are in the middle. They want this country to work. They're part of the project of keeping this country together. They understand what we do, they support what we do, but they're not so vocal, which is maybe the problem.
You speak about like the stories that change the lives of South Africans.
Yeah.
Which ones come to you as like this? These are the stories that I was involved with that have like changed everything.
I think the Gupta leaks, which we cooperated with Amabungani and the Daily Maverick, was probably one of those once-in-a-lifetime stories where you were part of a team that did a story, expose something that led to, I almost want to say regime change, but it was more inside in the ANC when Jacob Zuma was forced out of the party. I mean, that was a major moment in our country's history. But then more recently, I think the Babita Deokaran investigation by our investigations team, specifically by Jeff Wicks, the ripples of that is still being felt today. Even the fallout around Tlatlam Kwanazi and the commission of inquiry we have into the police now by Justice Matlanga goes back to those reportage. And that was just, a journalist saying, I'm not going to let this assassination just disappear and move on to the next one. I'm going to find out what happened here.
Does the media choose a side, or should the media choose a side, kind of like the Americans almost do, where you're like, I'm reading this publication and I know this publication leans left or right? Should the media do that?
No, I don't think so. And I think we are very privileged in South Africa that our mainstream media or our popular media or our news media, whatever you want to call them, still broadly subscribes to the values of fairness, of factual reportage, and subscribe to the press code of South Africa and the broadcasting code. I think that, there's been 1 or 2 publications or groups that's opted out of the formal system of co-regulation, self-regulation.
You can name them.
Some of them may claim to be independent with a small I, but they're actually
you can name them.
Capital I.
Just name them.
But I think if you look at the main ones, in South Africa, your News24, your Sunday Times, your Daily Maverick, it's not the clear pro-DA or anti-ANC or pro, EFF. It is publications whose core responsibility is telling the truth, holding power to account, and shining a light on places where people don't want lights to be shone. And I think, if we can stay true to that core, I mean, a journalism led a lot of great journalism in this country has led to the end of apartheid, and those were proud, people who laid the foundations for those of us now in democracy to build on. And I would hate for us to go into that realm of polarized journalism where you have to choose sides, where publications support political parties. I don't like that now.
Well, I mean, the critics of South African media or journalists like Mogoeng and president of the EFF, even like the people in the MK would say that the media is anti them. It's anti them, or the media doesn't report on private sector corruption and that sort of thing. Is this fair?
No, I don't think so. I think that people who say that are often were often subjects of critical media reportage. So Jacob Zuma, Julius Malema, Mogoeng were obviously on the receiving end of critical reportage for a good reason. Jacob Zuma is still in front of court for corruption case. We have to report that. We do cover that. Julius Malema has had many cases or complaints against him. Mogoeng, when he was Chief Justice, got a lot of praise as well from the media. For example, the Nkandla judgment, which is still being lauded as one of the best judgments out of that court, which was written under his pen. So I think it's just too easy and too cheap to criticize the media when you don't like what they write on a specific day.
And if we were to let you criticize the media as not part of the media, or as I don't want to use the word, experienced journalist, what would your criticism of South African media, news media, be?
Look, I think our newsroom sort is small. I think we need more journalists in South Africa. We need reporters in every legislature, in every metro council in the country, in every high court. At the moment, the economy of the media is just not allowing that. The economy of news journalism is broken. And some of us are having some success in rebuilding some form of sustainable newsroom economy. But it's a tough time. It's a tough time for mainstream media, for newsrooms. It's much easier, and this is not against you, but it's much easier to sit at your house with a microphone and do a podcast, not going out to the High Court, not going out to council to get that basic fact, Imagine a world where we don't have that, we don't have news reportage. What would people talk about on podcasts? What would people talk about on talk shows if there's no journalists doing the muckraking, going out there, interviewing people, scratching through people's literally dustbins? So I think my criticism is more towards the industry, towards maybe the management of some media houses around, and around private South Africa, private sector, who's kind of stopped supporting media when they move their ads from newspapers to Google.
To influence, to Google. We're here. Let's talk about it. Yeah. What happened to the business of media?
So let's go back a few years when people like you and I probably started our careers. I don't know how old you are, but I started about 22 years ago. Walked into a newsroom at Beeld newspaper in Johannesburg, and there was a newsroom of about 60 journalists working on one regional newspaper, Afrikaans regional newspaper. The newspaper made a fat profit. It was full of ads from retailers to banks to car sales to cellular companies. Remember those big double-page chicken, coffee, ice cream.
Yes.
And that's what paid the bill. Yes, we also sold the papers for anything between R3.50 and R12, R15. And I mean, my father bought 2 newspapers every day and 3 on a Sunday. So there was a culture in some homes of paying for news, but those ads were really what paid the bills, and the salaries of the journalists.
So 3 paper Sundays was a standard in across race. What did your father buy? What did your father buy?
Report, Sunday Times.
Sunday Times. Okay, culprit, yeah?
Yeah, have to. Look, and then, you would kind of look around. So I bought City Press always, but my father, would probably go for Sunday Independent or,
Oh, that's what we bought. We bought Sunday Times in the place of Rapport because we're black.
No, Rapport at the rugby, and the girls.
The sun babe in Sunday.
Yeah. Remember those days?
Yeah, I remember those days well. Yeah.
But those advertisements were the bulk of our income. Yeah. With the advent of the internet and specifically Facebook and social media, the majority of private companies in South Africa took their digital advertising onto those platforms. So they now advertise on Google, and on Facebook, and obviously on other platforms as well, but those are the two main ones.
Yes.
And today, as we sit here, about 92% of all digital advertising in South Africa by South African companies goes to platforms that are not owned by South Africans and are not full of journalism. So we've lost a hell of a lot of our advertising budget, and we had to make other plans, and that's the main reason on why the journalism is where it is today.
Is this why? Is this why media is fighting with Google at the moment?
It's one of the reasons. We believe, and this is the case that's obviously in front of the Competition Commission you're referring to, where the media houses went to the Competition Commission and asked them to look at Google's absolute monopoly over digital advertising in South Africa. They have delivered a interim report that said that Google has to come up with some way of funding media in South Africa. But we must still see what the final report will say and whether there will be any reparations paid to media houses. You must remember, if you go to Google as a normal user and you type in Julius Malema or Cyril Ramaphosa, those stories that come up are produced by our journalists.
Yes.
It's not Google's journalists. Google doesn't have a newsroom. Google doesn't employ one single journalist. Facebook doesn't employ a single journalist. Neither does X or Instagram or TikTok. So we are the ones who pay journalist salaries, who send them out to the courtroom, onto crime scenes, etc., but then expected to put our content on those platforms for free. They don't pay us, and they take our advertising. I mean, that's not fair. That's not how you run a business. That can't make sense in any world.
Yes.
So we've asked the Competition Commission to come with some guidelines and help us. But KG, to an extent, we are also the enemies of our own making, because for 20 years we gave away journalism for free on the internet. So people became used to news for free. And even when News24 in 2020 brought up a subscription service or a paywall, people were angry. A lot of people still say, like, why must I pay? I can't read your stuff. And I'm like, come on, guys, 109 Rand a month.
Even I get like, this is a beautiful headline, and then I click, paywall.
No, you can.
Who decides?
You can actually.
Who decides?
You can access it with your credit card. No, I mean, that is, but yes, I'll take some of the blame, or our industry must take, because we, let's say between 1995 and 2015, we gave away journalism for free. All of us, all the newspaper companies. And now we want to charge for it.
You guys are operating like drug dealers, just getting us hooked on free news, and then now you want money.
Now we're paying the bills, yes.
Should there be a funding program for news in the country?
I think it would be great if the government, in many countries, in Scandinavia, for example, a lot of tax money goes to media houses because they fundamentally believe it supports democracy. Independent media supports democracy. I can't see our government pumping millions into independent media houses. They would say, well, we're already funding the SABC, so we're doing enough for journalism. And yes, the public broadcaster should be good. You would hear me say should be good, should be quality, should be independent, should be fearless, keep power to account. But I would argue that, independent media will always be a better place to do that. I would love for some funding mechanism to be there.
Did you just give a shout out to the independent media?
No, with a small I.
Speaking about journalism being broke, Peter Louis Myburgh A story broke last week of a bribe offered to Peter Louis Maybeck with 60,000 rands. Is 60,000 rands a fair amount to bribe a journalist, or should they have gone lower?
Well, look, I mean, I don't know what's the going rate for bribing journalists. I mean, for us, it was incredibly scary for me to see the absolute brazenness and ease with which this happened. This bribe was offered, you know. What scared me most was that this was clearly not the first time that they had offered money to a journalist. And what we've been discussing in the newsroom is, are there potentially other journalists in the country who took those white deal bags? It to me illustrated the brazenness, the arrogance of people who are under the spotlight in journalism, under critical reportage, to think that we now live in a country where you can glibly just pull out a little bag with 60,000 dosh and just make the story go disappear to one of the country's most respected investigative journalists. This is where we are.
You guys are poor.
No, but that's not the. I mean, you don't become a journalist to get rich. Let me tell you that. You don't become a
journalist to get rich.
No, not in money, in experience maybe. I think, you know, life experience, satisfaction, purpose. This is a job with a high purpose.
That's a calling.
But the purpose doesn't pay the bill, right?
Oh, do you get to a point where you regret? Even like you're like, yeah.
There's definitely people I know who's less journalism for more money in the private sector. Okay. The salaries are just higher. The salaries are sometimes double, even triple, to become spokespeople, communications officers in the private sector. And when I was younger, I used to get angry at my colleagues, but now, you know, I understand some people have families, they have to look after extended families. I'm not going to blame them, you know. Yes. I understand. And it's unfortunate that we are in this time when journalism is going through a financial struggle. You know.
There's this perception that when politicians or black people are accused of corruption, News24 was stealing, corruption, this and that. But when it's a white guy, it's called financial irregularities or misappropriation of funds. Is this fair?
No, it's not fair.
Do you guys go, that white guy from VBS is corrupt? Do you guys do that, or do you guys go, oh, Peter is misappropriating funds?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, we've gone. I mean, I've written books about Bosasa, for example, where Gavin Watson was the CEO. I mean, probably one of the most corrupt people and business people we've seen. In fact, Gavin Watson was so good, he used BE to corruptly enrich himself and his family and his company. A white guy from Port Elizabeth. I mean, no, I reject that statement. I mean, again. Previous years, you know, someone like Julius Malema would say that because he was under critical reportage by News24. And this is just a very cheap way to try and undermine our journalism, to say you're only targeting black people. I mean, we are not. We were at the forefront of reporting on Marcus Jooste. When I was working at City Press about 10 years ago, construction mafia, the guys who took who colluded to build the Soccer World Cup stadiums were exposed by us. So it's simply not true. It's simply not true that we are targeting black people specifically. Because of the demographic setup of our country, of course, most people we will report on in politics or business will be black, just because of what the country's demographics are made up. But I think it's a cheap way to try and get to journalists, you know. And I've also heard it specifically being made towards my black colleagues in our newsroom, you know, when they expose other black politicians or business people, there's this racial thing that gets thrown into the mix to try and divert the attention from the real story, which is the corruption.
So forget the cameras. It's just us. We're brass. Is Gavin Watson still alive?
No, I don't think so. And I'll tell you why I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because the night that Gavin Watson died in the car crash, I phoned a police contact of mine who I trust with my life. And I asked him to go to the mortuary and go check if it's him and if he's there. Touch the
Oh,
with the
for
body.
real?
And he went and he saw him. Yeah.
What about Marcus Jooste?
No, I think he's
Some
gone.
people are saying he's in an island
No.
somewhere.
But why are they dead? That's interesting. Why did Watson die that day? I don't think we know that story. We don't know how he died. It was a very strange accident. He didn't drive as fast for the amount of damage. I mean, there was stuff funny, but I think he's no longer with us. I hope one day we can find out what happened. I mean, there was just so many strange things. The cameras were switched off on that part of I think it was the R21 there by the Aweh Tambo.
Yes.
He was driving a Bosasa Corolla where he normally drives his fancy cars. Why was he going to the airport? He didn't have a ticket to fly. There's just so many questions.
Surely there's a story there.
There is a story. I'll tell you first when you find out.
Do you think the media favors Cyril Ramaphosa over Jacob Zuma?
When Ramaphosa came to power in 2018, there was that Tumamina moment where we, as also citizens of the country, had for a moment hope and the belief that things could change. We saw the appointment of Shamila Batoy, Andre de Ruyter, so there was that moment of, okay, things are changing. Edward Kieswetter came back to SARS, Tomoyane went where Tomoyane went. And I think there was justified optimism in the country. And remember, we don't operate outside the country. We're still citizens, tax-paying citizens of this country. So yes, in my newsroom and in my own mind, I did experience a sense of optimism that things could change for the better. But I think we are as disillusioned and as critical today of Ramaphosa as we have been of Jacob Zuma.
When you look to the future, are you hopeful?
I'm a born optimist. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing in my profession. I really believe in the South African man and woman. I believe that the majority of this country want it to work and are in the center of politics, want a job, want a good life for their kids, want not to be the victim of crime, want to be able to walk the streets freely, want to have good healthcare, and I believe that if South Africans stand together and make their voices heard, we will be fine. We're going through a strange phase now. I think the old is dying and the new has not yet been born, as is that famous quote,
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going to come in the place of the ANC. Is it going to be this messy coalition world for the next few years, or will there be a rise of something that we don't even know about today? But that excites me as a journalist because we get the opportunity and we've got the front row seats to tell these stories.
The News24 comment section. How do you manage to piss off both black and white South Africans at the same time?
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, yeah, look, the comment section on News24 has got a life of its own. I mean, it's a bit like a car crash, right? You can't not look at it. There's some days I try very hard not to look at it.
These are your subscribers.
Yeah, but I mean, so let me give you some context. I think this is important. Okay, we have 100 and almost 20,000 subscribers on News24. At most, they are the ones I've seen with the most about 300 comments. So 300 people out of 120,000. I mean, what percentage is that? I don't have my calculator. Yeah. It's a very small percentage of people. It's clearly people who see that space as a place to vent, to be critical, to vent their frustration, which I think is fine, to have those platforms as long as it's in the confines of decent, relevant commentary. And then that's why we have moderation.
Do you offer therapy to your moderators? For real, do you offer therapy to your moderators? No. Because that would drive me to some sort of addiction. It's hectic sometimes.
No, I mean they have shifts, so they don't do it the whole time.
When it comes to stories, who tips you off? And when they do tip you off, do you ask them what the intention of tipping you off is? And based on the many stories that you've broken, would you say we're a nation of snitches?
I wish there were more snitches. I mean, I call them whistleblowers. I think we will be nowhere without whistleblowers in South Africa. We absolutely need whistleblowers. But to your question, yes, all whistleblowers come with an agenda, right? Okay. Sometimes that agenda is a good one. It's to blow the whistle on corruption. Sometimes it's getting back at my boss or my ex-wife or my ex-husband. Okay. But now you have to make the call as a journalist. Is the information in the public interest? Question 1. Was it obtained legally? Was it obtained ethically? If you can give ticks there, I would publish, even if it's a disgruntled ex-wife or disgruntled employee, because the information is in the public interest. You know, KG, I remember the Shabir Sheikh trial. I sat through that thing for 2 years. The main whistleblower from that trial who actually exposed Sheikh and Zuma was a woman called Sue Delic. She was a secretary at Thales, the French arms company's South African branch in Centurion. And one day she was asked to type the French fax. Do you remember the infamous French fax, which was this supposed
it's too young,
corruption agreement?
Yeah.
Too young.
Too young.
But there was this
when you say Thales, I'm like, I remember Thales. Yeah.
There was this one document that she had to type to say Zuma agrees to receive 500,000 Rand bribe from this company. And she literally one day couldn't take it anymore. She took all these documents on a desk, she left it and she gave it to the Scorpions.
Wow.
And, are you now going to keep holding it against her that she's disgruntled? No, I'm going to take the documents and publish them. So I think, sometimes people come with an agenda, and I think you have to ask them. All our journalists are trained that way. That you have to know what your source's agenda is. But thank God for them.
Adriaan, what is the one conspiracy that you actually believe? Where you're like, this hill is the hill that I believe this conspiracy.
I don't.
Not one.
No. You cannot, I know I sound like a head boy now, but you cannot stand for facts and stand for the truth and then believe in something that's not steeped in facts. Look, I'm a big wine lover, right? It's my passion, it's my hobby.
All right.
And there are these guys, there's this one wine farm in Stellenbosch that plays music to the vineyards. And I do believe that improves the taste of the wine. Does that count as a conspiracy?
I mean, there's no aliens.
It's not science, but I love it.
Like if you had said, listen, I believe the aliens come and pee on the wine, I'd go, oh.
That's the closest I've got, yeah.
Do you also have aunties who send you like fake news on a WhatsApp, on a family WhatsApp?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. I've got family.
Oh.
I've got family. And then, you know what I love about it the most?
Yeah.
Is they send you this thing, right?
Yes.
This clip with the forwarded many times. And then the message is, not sure if this is true.
And then what do you do?
So I'm like, okay, I don't think it's true. And maybe you shouldn't send it on to someone because, you're just typing that to make yourself feel better, right? Check it out yourself first. That's my message to South Africans. I hope, guys, just check it out yourself. Use common sense, Because, listen, there's some good stuff with AI that you can do now. I mean, it's scary.
Yes.
It's so good, it's scary, where you can clone people's voices, make clips.
Yes. And now we're at the point where AI summarizes the news for you. How does that impact the news?
Look, AI is massive in journalism. I think we need to, where I am at in my head at the moment is, how can AI help us to distribute our original journalism, our original reporting, our hard-hitting reporting even better to a larger audience? So I don't want to see it as an enemy of journalism. AI will never take over the role of journalist. AI is not going to sit in the courtroom or knock on the door or get the
It will once the robots come.
The leak documents.
Once the robots come, the robots are going to sit in court.
But I love thinking about it as a tool to help us, for example, these large document dumps like the Gupta leaks. If we had AI of the Gupta leaks, we probably could have done more or could have indexed it a bit faster, So I think technology can help us in that way.
What can South Africans do to improve media literacy. I think
Yeah.
that's...
I think we need to, if I may, my wish is for in our schools, in our colleges and universities, for real journalism to be made available to children and to students by accredited media houses that subscribe to the press code. I mean, we have a badge, right? We have a badge called the Press Council of South Africa, which has the ombudsman that can hit us over the knuckles if we get it wrong, and they do. So read your news from a publication that is accredited with the South African Press Council. And if you can take that message and spread that wide to your family, your WhatsApp groups, your schools, that's good.
Is journalism something that you want to do? Is it a thankless job? Politicians don't like you. The public don't like you. Is it something that you like?
Yeah, look, it's not a popularity contest. Certainly not. When someone comes up to me in a coffee shop and asks me, "Are you Adriaan Basson?" I'm always a bit worried that I'm going to get smacked.
Oh, snap.
Often people are quite nice when they see you just a person, you know.
Yeah.
But it is an enormously satisfying job. I still get enormous satisfaction from publishing stories that change the course of our country and the course of history, yeah.
Has it ever happened where like the public wants to murder you?
People have come close, but it's normally just a pointing finger. You must. It normally starts with you must, and then, you know, some kind of instruction.
Is there anything that you want to say to our politically aware audience?
Look, I think the fact that you look at this podcast, listen to it, is a good thing already. You want to be informed, you want to have a view. Come check out News24. Come experience News24. See what we do. Take a 14-day free trial to read all our content, and consider subscribing to support journalism and democracy.
You heard it, comrades. Adriaan, thank you for coming through, my man.
It was a pleasure.
This was a dope interview. I enjoyed it. Thank you
Thanks,
very much. Badangi.
Good to see you.
Hey, Tara. Thank you so much, Adriaan, for stopping by. Comrades, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out our latest episode on Big Tech and the media. Link in the description. Until next time, stay away.